Yo, what's up guys? You got Kotab here, and this video I got something a little different for you guys. I uploaded my last couple of the crew PvP races where I played a couple games against my friend by the gamertag ttownledhead. You guys can call him Town or Bill. His name is Bill in real life. So you guys can either call him Town or Bill. That's what he goes by, but he is an old time friend of mine, and I said this in the description of my first The Crew video. We grew up playing racing games together, and so we always dispute who is better. In this particular series of races, I was trying to test out some circuit cars. I haven't really found a circuit car that I like. Um, and it's been really difficult for me. So here I'm using three different cars. The BMW Z4, which I have all platinum parts level 49. No, I think I have one or two 48 or 47s. Um, but it should be either all 47 platinum parts and up. Um, with all my perks and stuff. And then the other two, I have the Lamborghini Gallardo. I do not have any platinum parts on that. I literally just got it out of the circuit tuner and then started using it. Same with the car after that, which is the what is it? The Mercedes SL65. I think that's what it's called. It's the black edition, the one that came out in the DLC pack. So that's what's going on there. I am also going to be doing something a little different, some voice commentary over it, giving my thoughts on the cars. I figured this would be nice because I have to rage and rant about one of these cars, and I figured it would be best to do it with my own voice rather than the text in the description. So sorry for this really long intro, but without further ado, let's get on into this. Alright, so this first race I'm using the BMW Z4. I have all platinum parts on this, like I said in the intro. So this is the car that I wanted to rage about, and I know what some of you guys are thinking. If you've ever played this game and if you have used this car before, it's kind of revered as a about average, I'd say. What's the term I'm looking for? About a mid-tier, I guess, car in terms of the circuit spec. And by the way, before I get into this, I drive awful in these three races, so I already know that. I drive really bad. It was really late at night. Not that that's an excuse or anything, but we were both kind of like falling asleep at the wheel. So first off the bat, the only, one of the very few good things that I'm going to say about the Z4 is what you just saw there at the very first couple seconds of the race. Its acceleration is pretty good. I honestly did not expect to start off the line and keep up off the line with the Murcielago there. The Murcielago is revered as one of the best circuit spec cars. That along with the McLaren and also the Ford GT. But the acceleration on this car is pretty good. I will give it that, but that is one of the only things that I will say that's good about this car. Its brakes suck. As you just saw there, I slammed on the brakes and only went down like 20 miles an hour. In any other circuit car, I feel like I would have gone down way faster than that. And you'll actually see that in the next couple races. Right there, the wall like grabbed onto me and like wouldn't let me go until the end of it. It was really weird. The collisions in this game are kind of odd. But anyway, this car, its turning rate sucks. Its brakes sucks. Its top speed isn't even really that high. The wheel spin on this car is kind of interesting because you'll see me use NOS at high speeds here, and it just spins out of control. You kind of saw that there before that little jump. That's another thing. If this thing goes up a little bump, it just loses all of its grip. You'll see that a couple times in this race where I go up like a little itty-bitty hill and it just, as soon as it goes over the apex of the hill, it just does not grip at all. It just starts flying everywhere. Um, by the way, I do use hardcore driving assist, automatic transmission. I do not have the coordination to do manual, especially on a PlayStation 4 controller. But yeah, this thing is just... I don't think I had a worse time driving a car in any game than I did with this. And it's a real shame because the thing is sexy as hell. But it just does not perform like I want it to. There are very few good things about this car, and I will go over that in a little bit, but the high-speed turning radius on this thing is awful. It has way too much understeer. The wheel spin is, like I said, it's interesting. You'll see me go for NOS at high speeds, like right there, and I just lost all grip. I was holding completely to the right there to try to avoid that tree, and it just would not happen. At this point in the race, I'm not enjoying this car so much that after I like crash a couple times here, you might just see me like sit there for a second. That's because like I'm not even like, I was at the point where I was thinking about just like sitting there waiting for him to win the race because I didn't want to drive this car anymore. The wheel spin is, let me explain wheel spin here for you guys. There's a lot of things that people don't really know about wheel spin. The wheels, basically in the crew, your nitrous and your overall acceleration is based off of a few things, but the main things are the amount of grip your tires have and the amount of wheel spin, and wheel spin is kind of determined by the amount of grip that you have as well. Although you can have a car that grips really well with a lot of wheel spin, it is possible. Cough cough the Pagani. This car is an example of, it has a lot of wheel spin at high speeds, but not a lot at low speeds. That is one good thing about this car that I will say. That, and it looks really awesome, and its acceleration is good. There's another thing that I will say in a little bit. Those are so far the only good things about this car. But it's wheel spin at low speeds is very manageable. You can do little short bursts, maybe like a quarter of a tank at most, at low speeds before you should probably stop. I'm just messing around with the camera there. Before you should stop using your NOS. Also, this car, wheel spin is not always a visual thing too. Wheel spin will not always, you'll not always see tire smoke and stuff when you wheel spin. The best way to measure wheel spin is to get into a car, start going about 130, 150, and hit your nitrous. First off, do it in a Lamborghini Gallardo / Aventador, and you should go from about 150 miles an hour. You should get to about 200, 220, somewhere around there, depending on how much parts you have on. That is basically grade A wheel spin. That is basically no wheel spin, if not very little wheel spin. If the car does not accelerate, basically if the car accelerates less than that while using your NOS, then the worse wheel spin it has. So this thing has a ton of wheel spin at high speeds. It has really manageable at low speeds. And another good thing that I will say about this car is its low speed handling is actually pretty decent. The only problem is to get that low speed handling and to use it efficiently, you will have to be going about 120 or less. So, final verdict on this car, I hate it. This track, specifically that I was on with the long stretches, is really bad for this car. I would recommend using this car on the professional tracks, the Mazda Raceway, the Sebring, the ones that are actual, professional tracks. If you use this car on those tracks and keep it kind of at lower speeds, it'll do decently. You have to brake really early though. If you brake really early and go into the turns and kind of push hard, going at probably around 100 miles an hour, this thing will do actually decently well. However, if you're not on a professional track like that, then this thing will not perform the way that you want it to. So, final verdict on the car, I don't like it. Save it for professional tracks and if you want a challenge. And don't use your nitrous past, like, 120. Alright, so, now we're going to get into the Lamborghini Gallardo. And I was actually really excited to get into this car because I am a huge fan of the Gallardo perf spec. And, yes, it is one of the best cars in the game, if not the best car in the game. And I am a kind of a fanboy of using what is best. And you'll see that kind of in a lot of my videos. But I was really excited to see what this car would do. Now, like I said, I basically just got this out of the tuner, and look at that. That blue with those red accents and stuff. Ooh. Ooh, this thing is sexy. Oh, I'm getting a hard on just looking at it. Anyway, awkwardness aside, this car, I always saw the Gallardo as the kind of the Lamborghini that you just kind of pick it up, you throw it against the wall, you kick it in the guts, and the more you do that to it, the better it'll perform. And what I mean by that is, you'll see me just like that. That corner right there basically puts it all together how I feel about the Gallardo. You push it hard and you push it to its limits, and the more you do that, the better it'll do, that I found in most situations. Do not be afraid to brake late. Do not be afraid to cut corners. Bump up on those curbs or those rumble strips, as I like to call them, candy canes, because this car, it has the all-wheel drive. It can take those bumps. He is in his Gallardo, and he is doing significantly better than me because he has more parts on, and I believe I spun out in the very beginning as well. But in general, this car, I feel like it's definitely a high tier car. If I'd have to put it on like a tier list. Sorry, coming from my competitive background, the competitive games that I have played, we have tier lists. So I kind of refer to these cars on tier lists as well. So there's one kind of bad thing about this car is it also has a lot of wheel spin at high speeds, but it's better than the BMW. It can go until about 170 using NOS. After that, you should probably stop using NOS, or else you'll just start spinning out. But for a circuit spec car, it actually doesn't have too much wheel spin on its acceleration, and its NOS isn't too bad either. Like you see here, I'm actually going 230 using short bursts of NOS, and it's still keeping its grip really well. So disregard what I just said about that. And there I did I did not brake early enough, and I did not have good enough brakes to handle that turn at that speed. But this car is definitely much better than the Z4 on all tracks. You can just throw it at a corner, push it hard into the corner, and do really well. You can really, it's just an easy car to drive. You can, like I said, just kick it around. You don't even have to treat it like it's a Lamborghini, and it'll perform really well. So final verdict on this car: good on all tracks, good at everything. Better than the GT, better than the Ford GT? I don't know. I'll get back to you on that when I have parts on it. But I feel like it's definitely better than the McLaren. It's probably the second best in this game. I haven't gotten all the parts on it yet though, so I can't really say for sure. Next we're going to go into this Mercedes, and I really had high hopes for this car because I really liked the look of it, and I am actually a huge Mercedes fan as well. So I really wanted this car to perform well. This is the AMG Black Edition, the one from the DLC pack. This is not the one, the SL63 that you can just buy. But like I said, I really wanted this car to do well, and it kind of performed well. There's a lot of intricacies with this car, and I feel like it's really good if you know how to drive it. And I'll explain that in a little bit when you see. this first turn here, this car's brakes are phenomenal. You'll see me actually kind of brake early, right here, and I was like, whoa, this thing slowed down way more than I thought. So, one thing, you do not have to brake early in this car. You can brake pretty late, due to the fact that its brakes are really good. They slow you down a lot, and you keep a lot of grip. But let's see if you see it come up here. The way I like to drive, I like to get close to those candy canes, as I call them, the rumble strips. I like to get as far into them as I can, and it's kind of not the best idea in this car. This car, for whatever reason, whenever it goes up a little bump or a curb, as you will see probably in a second here, or like you just saw Bill do there, whenever it goes onto a bump or a curb, it tends to just kind of flail about. For whatever reason, it's very unstable on bumps, and that's why I don't know how I feel about this car and putting it on like my theoretical little tier list. So like you see here, boom, look at how much unstable that was. I had to go down to 40 miles an hour there, and in a circuit spec car, you never want to go below like 60. 65, and that's if you're doing bad. Another good thing about this car, it's got pretty decent acceleration. It's got, I think, the lowest amount of wheel spin out of any circuit car that I have driven. I haven't driven the Mini, but I heard that has no wheel spin either. But this thing doesn't have really too much wheel spin, which I like a lot. You can actually use NOS quite effectively in this car. It's very good at handling at low speeds, and it also handles decently well at high speeds. I haven't really tested it out yet on a long course track, even though that's what I'm going to end up recommending this car for, just because it's very interesting, because it doesn't have the top speed or the acceleration to keep up with the Ford GT on the long maps. However, on short corners and stuff, it will outperform the Ford GT, but it will not outperform the Gallardo or the McLaren due to its low stability. Those cars can cut the corners way better than this car can. Even though it does handle really well at low speeds, it just cannot go, it can't cut across the rumble strips. You actually see me kind of trying to avoid getting close here because out of fear of just going bump. It's very difficult to handle when you do that. See, look at that. Look at it's just really difficult to handle once it starts bouncing like that. So what I recommend for this car is definitely get like a level 50 suspension part and try to get that with I believe the grip bonus on that actually helps the suspension a lot too. That'll definitely help. Getting suspension will help, guaranteed. This car's brakes are just so good though, and I would recommend it for, God, what's the name of that track? It's on the south, and it's basically a bunch of straights, a right angle turn, a bunch of straights, right angle turn, a straight right angle turn. And it's just, it's really fast-paced, and that's what I think this car would be good at, is getting to those decently high speeds, getting up to about 180, 190, 200, and then slowing down and doing a really hard corner, and then speeding back up again. So, this car might not be the best for tracks like this, just because, and I just got kicked off the crew. I was farming money, but it might not be the best for tracks like this just because it can't go across those rumble strips quite like the Gallardo can, even the McLaren, but I definitely feel like on a track like that where it's just a straight and then a hard turn and then a straight and then a hard turn, I definitely feel like it'll outperform the Ford GT. So it's a very hit or miss car. It's very situational, but I like it a lot. In fact, I have a ton of fun driving this car. On the roads, it's pretty good. It's pretty good on the roads that don't have curbs. And what I mean by that is, for example, the last race, The last race that I was on would actually be a pretty good car, or pretty good track for this car. Sorry, I'm jumbling up my words. Um, the See how like on the right side of the road here, or actually both sides of the road here, it's like a dirt trail. It's like a small dirt trail. When you drive on that, it kicks up dirt and stuff, but it actually counts as like asphalt, almost like the salt flats do, where your car will not lose your acceleration or anything on that. And this freaking intro is playing. Um, so you want to cut those as much as you can, and this car is really good at going through those. So tracks like that, mostly the ones that are like out in the middle of nowhere in the deserts, and maybe the ones that have the small curbs that have like the red and white stripes on them. Those will do. Those tracks will treat this car really, really well. So that is enough out of me. I am actually going past here, and we got a black screen going on. But I hope you guys like this kind of thing, where I commentate and give my thoughts on the cars. I tried the best that I could. I've never really done this before. I might try to talk a little less and just kind of cut in and out with little tidbits. I might try that. We'll see. So, thanks for watching, guys. I really, really hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys later.